3 techniques in MMA that everyone should be doing right now. These techniques are simple to execute, but I'll be listing them off in accordance to how difficult they would be to pull off mid-fight. Starting off with a flying knee feint into another attack. We've seen Jon Jones fake a flying knee and go into an oblique kick in his fight against Anthony Smith, or Raul Rosas Jr. on the Contender Series using the flying knee to shoot for a takedown. The oblique kick itself could have been on this list because certain fighters are deterred from using this brutal attack, such as Wonderboy, since he's such a nice guy, but back to the flying knee itself and what you could do off of it. The oblique kick and takedown are probably the 2 best examples of what to do after the feint. This technique is effective because it makes the opponent believe that a knee is coming straight for their face, making them not look at their feet. It is the ultimate way to make the opponent think high and then attack low. And then with the oblique kick, you can generate so much force off the jump, potentially ending the fight. The problem with this technique is that it can be used in low amounts only. Doing it multiple times through a single bout, opponents will recognize what you're going for and counter off of that. Jumping that high that often consumes an insane amount of energy, and you might have to be rather athletic to use this. Someone like Tai Tuivasa or Juliana Pena would never be able to utilize this technique because of the jump and then the speed it would require to transition into the next attack. I would rate this technique's difficulty as 3.5 stars out of 5, with its effectiveness being the exact same. The stomp could end the fight, but if someone were to go to the takedown, they would actually have to be skilled enough to do something on the ground off of the takedown. I like this technique because it can happen very quick and surprise your opponent, but you might not be able to replicate its success multiple times. The next technique is this one. It's similar to a breakdown in wrestling, but ruthlessly attacks the knees. We saw Jacob Smith use this on Dana White's Contender Series, I think last week, and it was the catalyst for inspiring me to make this video actually. It was an awesome, innovative way of fighting, and I feel like I've never seen this before in MMA. In the sport of wrestling, the breakdown move basically refers to techniques that are used to take an opponent from standing, or in this case a neutral position, down to the mat. Of course, in wrestling, you're not allowed to perform what Jacob Smith did to his opponent on Dana White's Contender Series, but his attack was a variation of the breakdown. Had Colby Covington used this technique on Kamaru Usman in their rematch, he might actually end up being the champion whenever he had Kamaru Usman's back. It's a famously known issue of Kamaru Usman's knees basically being destroyed after years of wrestling.
Kamaru's got some fucked up knees.
He did.
It's amazing that guy fights as well as he has, the kind of pain that he has. He told me that he had to walk on fucking grass because he couldn't walk on concrete because it hurt so bad.
That's good. I mean, motherfucker walked backwards in the steps. I was in Denver with him a week before the fight. He'd be walking down the steps backwards. I'm like, yo,
Because it hurts.
That's crazy
Isn't
to me.
that crazy?
Like
And then goes and fights.
I got bad knees. So the fact that he walks back, I've never walked backwards down no fucking stairs. His knees is fucked up. He got a lot of other injuries.
It's like the oblique kick of just trying to destroy everyone's knees, and I don't know why I'm teaching everyone how to destroy knees. I don't really mean to. But there's not much to say about this one other than its ratings, so let's hop into that. So for this wrestling knee attack breakdown, I would rate its difficulty as 2.5 stars out of 5, just off the attack itself, not getting a hold of the back, because that in itself is a whole battle. Its effectiveness varies from opponent to opponent because the attack could do absolutely nothing, or end the fight very easily. Also, many people might not want to attempt this breakdown because they might lose control of their opponent, so its effectiveness will be rated the exact same as well. Okay, on to one of my favorite techniques in the game, the sidekick. It really is so easy to execute, with the hardest aspect of it being that it has to be well timed. It can be used as an offensive or defensive attack. You can jump into it, or when an opponent tries to enter range or chase you down, fire it off. It is very much like a jab, but with the legs that have a longer reach than the arms, obviously. Perfect examples of this are Jon Jones and Wonderboy using their leg reach to stab away at opponents' bodies. Or Shara Bullet, who has amazing dexterity in his legs, and he seemingly uses his legs more than his arms, probably because he's blind. But it really is like having a long stick to poke away at opponents with. I still don't see enough fighters using the simple attack, despite there being very little downsides. Opponents can be kept at bay, become tired from it being spammed, or completely knocked off their feet from it, making them have to get up and reset themselves. The only issue with the sidekick is that it can be telegraphed to someone once a fighter springs their legs up, making them susceptible to leg kicks, much like Wonderboy is. But shown here, fighters like Wonderboy and Shara Bullet are excellent after chambering and feinting off of the sidekick to go up high like a sweet chin music. Or even when a fighter misses a leg kick, body kick, or head kick, they can use that momentum to carry themselves into the sidekick or chamber off of it when the opponent thinks that they dodged the initial kick, catching them off guard. And mentioned earlier, the sidekick requires a certain stance that makes fighters susceptible to leg kicks, such as Wonderboy, but Jon Jones will hop into these attacks rather than staying in the same stance that leaves his legs open for the leg kicks. I think that the sidekick becomes much more prominent the higher the weight class because of the speed at which they operate. In the flyweight division, I don't think it would be as effective as something like the light heavyweight division because of the significance of the power. Just a little side note, or my opinion. A lot of people don't appreciate Taekwondo, but I really think that the sidekick is something that can be implemented into MMA and it be really effective. The sidekick is an easy attack to execute with low risk and low to medium payoff from the attack landing. That is why I'll be rating its difficulty as 1 out of 5 stars, with its effectiveness being 3 stars, because a lot can happen from very little effort. These 3 techniques, the flying knee feint into an attack, wrestling knee breakdown, and sidekick, each have their own unique strengths and weaknesses in MMA. The flying knee feint offers great versatility but requires significant athleticism and can become predictable if overused. The wrestling knee attack breakdown is highly situational with the potential to end a fight, but also the risk of losing control if poorly executed. And last, the sidekick stands out as a simple yet highly effective technique, particularly for keeping opponents at distance and creating space. While it's the easiest to execute and involves low risk, its effectiveness can vary depending on timing and the weight class. So with that, thank you for watching this quick video, and make sure to elbow that subscribe button. Peace!